Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh, brothers and sisters in Islam. Today, I want to share with you some verses of the Quran that cure backwardness in classrooms, lack of understanding of what is being taught to a child. In other words, low IQ, low intelligence, dullness in class, inability to grasp information or what is taught to a child or even a grown up in a classroom situation. Well, there are a lot of people who have been calling to discuss their issues relating to backwardness in their children, backwardness in their spouses, inability to grasp information or retain things in their memories. Now, the things that we have been able to discuss, research really is some of these problems stem from either hereditary, sihr, that is magic spell, evil eye, divine intervention. All this could be the few reasons that make children not to be able to understand what is taught to them in their schools. I want you to know that there are verses of the Quran that cure all these problems. I remember when we were in the primary schools, there was a classmate who, throughout his stay in the school, would be taught, were taught together, but when it comes to exams, either terminal exams or sessional exams, the thing he will do was to fill his papers either with zeros. In other words, he would just be writing zeros, 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 zeros until he fills the paper and he will give it out. The teacher in that class, could not understand why this child was having this kind of problem. And at that time, the parents could not understand why their child was not able to understand what is being taught to him. But it was much later when he grew up that we discovered that it was the jinns that were responsible for this problem. And it was too late then, but eventually some ruqya was done and the jinns were expelled. And that grown up, became normal once again. So I want to share with you some of the verses that do really cure all these situations and problems. They are in the Quran and the Hadith of the Prophet. Once applied, situations like this are reversed. A child's IQ is improved. He will now start understanding what is taught to him and he will retain the information that is taught to him. And I have seen a lot of people, come in to thank me for giving them some of these supplications, which really did work. So, brothers and sisters in Islam, the chapters on man, chapters on daybreak, chapter on the opening, chapter on unity, the Ayat al Kursi, that is a chapter of a verse of the throne, And some other verses which we picked from the Quran do really serve as cure for these problems. So, brothers and sisters in Islam, once you have a child who has this, don't give up. There are verses that cure these problems, inshallah. Muhammad, 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 the man who puts his trust in Allah, is sure the messenger and the most glorious of the Quran. Alhamdulillah, Alhamdulillah.